Happy Victory Monday to everybody in the land, whether it's YouTube, in the comments section, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you are in the United States of America or elsewhere. We are the number one seed in the NFC for the right to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Yesterday, that game was a little crusty, but we won. A little weird, but we won. It started kind of strange. I was getting worried. Negative Nancy Aaron, the version of me, was like, oh my God, what if we lose? And then, of course, everything worked out. So first off, before we get into that, let's all check in on everybody and see how everybody's doing. I'll start with my man, BC. How you doing, man?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing as good as I can be. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Ty, I saw you traveled yesterday. You weren't at a 49ers game. You were like were you at a Vikings game?
I was at the Cowboys-Eagles game.
Oh, you were at the Cowboys-Eagles game.
Yeah.
Why?
I had to make sure they didn't fuck it up.
Were you going to run on the field if things went awry and be like, listen here, man.
Listen, we gave you the blueprint. Get it right.
I don't know if you picked up, but they had Seth Joyner, famous Eagle, talking when he found out that Bosa said that we created a blueprint and how to beat the Eagles. Seth Joyner got pissed off and was going on and on about it on Twitter, but whatever. David McNiner, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. We won. The Cowboys didn't choke. So I'm doing pretty good.
I think that's probably the last time any of us are going to cheer for the Cowboys in our lifetime. Oh, my God.
It felt
I can't
dirty.
believe it. It felt really dirty.
It felt so dirty.
I was cheering for the Eagles just to lose.
Yeah.
That was my focus. Just lose.
All that matters.
Just mess up, lose. Oh, yeah.
So let's get everybody's kind of overall take from the game on Sunday. Started slow. My Niners looked a little sketchy for probably the first, what do you say, quarter and a half, maybe?
Yeah.
And then things kind of fell back into normalcy after that. I'll start with Bryant. What was your overall take of yesterday's game, watching it? Were you at all stressed at any point in the game?
Oh.
Sorry.
He's back.
I had to clear my throat. Was I stressed during the game? I'm always stressed during a 49er game, especially the Seahawks. And I didn't like it. It was 7-7, then it was 10-7, and then I just really didn't like it. It looked to me like their quarterback Drew Lock had a lot of confidence in himself. He wasn't afraid of us at all. He has a pretty big arm, and if he would have connected with Metcalf one or two times, the game could have totally just changed real quick on us. With us having two or a couple of the defensive players go out, that wasn't fun. But it was a lot of fun.
Were you at that game yesterday? No, you weren't at that game.
No, I was at the house. No,
I think it was Ted. Ted was at the game yesterday.
Yeah.
Ty, what was your takeaway from yesterday? One, are you happy that we have the 1 seed?
Yeah.
Which that would be like a really dumb question. And
Yeah.
what was your overall feeling from yesterday? Because I was a little, oh man, it was just, I don't know. I didn't have a good feeling starting yesterday. I guess, we get spoiled with some of these ass kickings that we put on people that we think every week's going to be the exact same way.
Every game not going to be a beat down. I was fine with it. To me, that was like a typical Seahawks game where weird stuff happens. And throughout our history playing the Seahawks, it's just weird stuff happens throughout the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was one of them. But it's good that they just, stayed the course, kept doing their thing, and eventually just took the game over in the second half. It shows that this team truly just beats itself and gets itself into trouble at times. Like no other team really challenges them. So, but they overcame injuries, they overcame some penalties, the turnovers, and still got the W. And I think that's just going to help them in the long run. But I thought it was a good game overall on both sides of the ball. We saw the offense move the ball, defense made stops, get turnovers. It was good 49ers football. Just weird and frustrating at times.
I think when you pay attention to every single game like we do, especially if you can watch every game. I have the ticket, so of course, I can watch every 49ers game, and I could also, like yesterday, 1:00 started, man. I was on the multi-streams watching all the games, and I was just antsy, man. Like, this Niners game needs to start. You know what I mean? Like, after that victory last week, I was like, I want more. I want more. Like, this season has been so kind to the 49ers so far that, like, it's like we can't get enough after a game ends. I mean, the players are probably like, let's get a rest here, take a day. Like, us fans, man, we're like, if this ends up turning into a Super Bowl season, man, like, we can't get enough of this, because then before you know it, the season's over and we got to wait, 9 months all over again, 8 months. So, yeah, yesterday was I felt like my emotions went through a little bit of the ringer, but my brother reminded me watching, he wasn't watching the game. He's like, it is a division rival and weird stuff always happens in division games. So yesterday was a perfect example.
Yeah.
David,
Especially
what was your
Seahawks? Yeah.
Especially with Seattle. David, what was your takeaway?
Well, starting out slow, last couple games we have, but it's kind of seemed like the first 5 games we did that too.
We did.
We turned it up as the game went, and put it away in the second half, and we played better in the second half, and I got no problem with it, and the penalties, like Mitch, our punter, he saw him an opportunity and he snagged it. He ran up the field. I had no idea he could run that fast. I'm going to say that right now.
I had no idea. Did.
And then, here come a flag. I was like, no, Bryant was a little excited when it happened. I was actually at my mom's house. He called me, but the flag was that was disappointing, but at least we know our punter is even on point, though. He's ready to do something if he can.
Yeah.
And the whole team is.
It wasn't even
missed an Armstead. Yeah.
That's the thing.
I mean, missed an Armstead. I thought, I was thinking they might get away with a little something on a little bit of running on the inside without Armstead there, but Kinlaw stepped up, and he played good. So, I can't wait to get healthy.
Yeah.
And, down the stretch, hopefully I got to knock on wood. Hopefully we stay healthy the whole rest of the season into the playoffs.
Yeah.
I feel like we're tempting fate right now with some of these injuries. It's just like, maybe it's just meant to be this year. We're like, an injury report coming out of the game was pretty bad, but some of the news coming into today was really good. I just want to say hi to Jess from East Coast Red and Gold Podcast.
What up, Jess?
Hey, Jess, you might want to stick around. We might do a quarterback ranking or something. I swear to God, she will find where I live and throw a friggin' flaming bag of crap through my window if I start ranking Purdy.
I know what town he's in, Jess.
3 weeks ago, I made a mistake and I called Patrick Mahomes elite. After seeing yesterday and him throwing a fit on the sideline, I have to take that back, folks.
He melted down. Oh my gosh.
I've never seen Kermit the Frog get so mad. He was so angry.
Yep.
And I was just imagining what his voice sounds like, because he kind of sounds like me. It was probably something like like he was so mad. But the penalty was legit.
It was completely legit.
Kadarius Toney was stepping on the line. I don't understand his listen, man, all these teams have been getting all the flags the last couple of years, man. The tide needs to turn. I'll tell you, I want to go back to the Eagles game for a second, but I couldn't believe how much physical defensive back play we had in that Eagles game with our guys that we didn't get called for anything. I was so expecting it to be a towel fest in that game where, they were going to call us on everything. And some of those plays with Javarius Ward in that game, I mean, it's maybe it's just our time. I don't know. I don't believe in fate and destiny and all that trash, but I don't know. These teams that always get all the flags and get the benefit of the doubt, it doesn't feel good when you don't get it, does it? Does it? Like when you held Bosa in the Super Bowl and we didn't get called, we didn't get the call. Don't feel that good, does it? Yeah. So tonight, I think it goes, if Green Bay loses, we clinch the West. I think. I'm not 100%, but it did. I was looking at some of the stuff before the game yesterday.
Yeah.
I can't believe how much work we put in this team to get the number 1 seed. I'm so happy for these guys. I just hope they can make it, till the end of the season and into the playoffs with minimal injuries. Like I think we have now, that to me, the injuries to me are the biggest concern on this team.
Yep.
Secondary, I will say this though, and it is one of my topics, and I guess we could transition into it. The secondary played really good yesterday, considering that Isaiah Oliver made his way back into the lineup. And, Demo had to get pushed outside. We lost Javarius Ward, and we had Ambry Thomas, and they just, for the most part, other than a couple big plays early to DK Metcalf, the Niners really shut it down. Ty, what was your kind of overall feeling about the way the secondary was coached up yesterday and how well they played?
They played well, and they've been playing well all year, except for, that early snafu in the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But Ambry Thomas, when in his rookie year, what we saw from him was he got thrown into the fire, but he got better game after game. Right? And toward the end of the season, we saw him making the game-winning interception, right? But he got better game after game. That's the same thing this season. Game 1, a little sketchy. Game 2, a little sketchy. He actually got benched, but came back, and since he's been put in, he's been getting better game after game. Okay, that's what he needs. He needs just reps to get going. He's fine. Demo moving to the outside, I have no problem with Deommodore Lenoir.
No, me neither.
He's a legit 1B number 2 starter. He's fine out there. We saw he could have had 3 picks this game. He intercepted 1 ball, but Bosa jumped offside, and he's got his hands on 2 other footballs that were thrown in his direction.
He almost had a pick 6. Remember that one almost pick where he came back to it? Oh, that was so. Oh, I jumped up. I was like, oh, but he dropped it.
That's
I was
what
like,
I mean.
damn it.
Yeah, exactly. Like he frustrated DK. He frustrated DK from the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
So, and Oliver got in there. We saw Womack 4 play. Womack made 1 play, and they pulled him right off, put Oliver in there. But Oliver even held up on his end. So, this is what we expected when Steve Wilkes took over, that the secondary would be solid, just as solid as the front 7. They would be solid. And we're seeing that now. It took these games for them to get it together, but they're there. They've arrived. So I'm totally happy with them.
BC, how'd you feel about the secondary yesterday? And before you answer, the Niners also signed Jason Brett to the practice squad.
JB.
He was at the game yesterday. They said he was just there as a fan, which is a bunch of bull crap. He was there for a reason.
They want to violate any
and then
rules.
they have a video of him in the tunnel slapping up everybody. And we just brought another reinforcement in. And then, also with the news that maybe Ertz is coming. What's your take overall take from yesterday? Oh, can't hear you, buddy.
You're muted.
Yeah, it's good to see players come in that aren't necessarily starting and hold down the fort. They're not starting for a reason, but they're rookies and they're getting better. And it doesn't sound like Ward's going to be out forever, but he needed to rest his groin yesterday. And Oliver came in and Jair Brown came in. They both played really well, so I'm pretty happy. I really am. they're coming together really well. You can't have superstars at every position. You really
Nope.
truly can't. You can't afford that. And it's neat that the talent that we have is in a way copious. Oh my gosh, it's just in a way it's helping out the other end of the team where we are really good or we're really weak. It's just balancing everything out. So I'm really excited. I think they played well.
I think that the play of Jair Brown, who I had major reservations, not because I didn't think he was to be a good player. I just think that, going into a stretch of games, playoff run possibly coming, that I wouldn't be surprised if a rookie melted down, not because he sucked or wasn't good, but just the pressure. It happens. It happens to young quarterbacks. It happens to anybody. Wow, that was a nice interception he had yesterday. I mean, he played beautiful. That safety position as perfect as you could play on that pick, right where he was supposed to be, helping out the corner, high point of that mess, and boom, interception, second of the season. David McNew, how impressed are you with the youngster in the secondary overall?
Jair Brown he fits the mold. He looks really good. Mm-hmm. It's almost like why weren't we playing him sooner? Hufunga's a good player. And it's kind of like, what's going to happen next year? I mean, a lot of people make, strong safety, free safety. In our defense, do we actually have a strong and free safety? I thought we had like 2 free safeties.
Pretty interchangeable.
They're interchangeable parts, really.
And I'm very much looking forward to next year having Hufunga back. It might not be at the beginning of the season, though. Let's be honest, But Jair Brown looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason we traded up to get him, right?
Exactly. Yeah. We all knew
statement here that we're doing better without Huff.
No, it's the same. There hasn't been a drop off.
Right.
And credit that to the coaching, credit that to Gibson, who is a coach on the field. We heard Huff talk about how his play is benefited by having Gip next to him, being that coach on the field, being that mentor, helping him out. We saw in that Bucks game when Huff went out, Gip was right there talking to Brown every step of the way, helping him out back there, right? Having a veteran to lead you on the field, to help you out, to share his knowledge, it means something. And Gip has been that guy for both of them. So, moving forward, we all knew that Huff and Brown would be our safeties next season. We're in good hands with them. It's just a matter of when Huff comes back. But I have no problem with what Jair Brown has been doing thus far. It's actually very positive and shows that he's very promising.
I noticed that someone who was very promising. It was Nick Moody. He's been making a lot of extra points lately. I just wanted to get BC's
Jake Moody. I got you, Brian.
I got you. BC's his thoughts on the enigmatic kicker. How are you feeling about? I'm just playing, bro. I know you. I just like to bust your chops because that's your dude. I like him too. I got excited when he got drafted. I've been a little bit ready to jump off a cliff with the guy if he misses like one important kick. I'm that kind of temperamental. Bryant has a little bit more faith in him, I think. I'm not sure.
Well, you got to look at it like this. If you have a quarterback and he goes out and throws an interception, do you just get rid of him right away? Exactly. You're garbage, right? You're trash, right? Like Philadelphia, trash. No, you can't do that. The guy hasn't missed an extra point yet. He's only missed 3 field goals on the year. Let's just cut him already. It sounds like he's garbage, right? come on, guys. He played in Cleveland. That's a really hard place to kick. You guys don't believe it? Go try it. They always talk about the win there. Then Minnesota, there's really no excuse, to miss in the dome, but he did slip on the turf before the game started. So let's think about that as well.
Okay.
And then, this guy's a rookie, right? We won a Super Bowl with a rookie kicker the last time we won a Super Bowl. So
that's right. Ryan. Yep.
People like names, Moody's Duty and Moody's Booty and all this, all right, well, we're not in elementary school anymore, so the nicknames and stuff, that's funny. They'll never go away, but that shows your maturity too, right? I don't know, like if he misses a kick in the playoffs, I'll be really mad. I'll probably be madder than anybody, especially if it costs us a championship, that's not something I'm going to be for. But would I want to see him come back and try to nail it the next year? Yeah, but if they get a cheaper option or somebody else out there, let's go. I was really actually happy with what we did with Mitch Wisnowski, and the way he performed yesterday. He's always, he's never getting talked about, because he's the punter. Punters don't get talked about, and kickers don't get unless they miss, right? And for the Seahawks to be the fifth special teams in all of the league right now, and for us to be able to sneak a fake on them, and we almost got away with it if it wouldn't have been for a block in the backfield, and he got hit out of bounds, so it would have been a couple more yards. But our guy was just trying to make a play, and if he would have held up the block a little bit better, Wisnowski. Mitch, our big guy, right? Ozzy would have scored a touchdown. So I mean,
I like that. Ozzy, yo. He said that. He said that he took that one and it was his call because the crashing of the defensive line on the punt. In. He said there was a wide open alley up the right.
That right side was wide open.
And that block that we got called on,
he slipped.
He slipped.
He slipped.
That was a complete, when you watch it in real time, it looks like he kind of just whatever, but
he actually slipped. Yeah.
We won the game, but I want it all to go our way, man. I don't want any.
I wanted that one.
I'm so spoiled. Yeah. I can't say we've been spoiled this year, but as a 49er fan this year, I think we've had it pretty good so far, and I hope it continues. There's just been a lot of really good football being played by our team this year, offensively, defensively. That it's when it doesn't happen exactly the way we think in a game, all of us are like, "What's going on? Something wrong?" It's like, no, they're humans. They have bad days, just like everybody else. Someone who didn't have a bad day yesterday was Brock Purdy. Now, certain channels or certain people talk about Purdy ad nauseum, but hey, it gets views, it gets people to click, right? But the legitimate question is here. I'm going to start with Ty. In your eyes, if Purdy plays the way that he is right now until the end of the regular season, is him as a candidate for an MVP, throwing for almost 4,000 yards, possibly, and however many touchdowns? Would you legitimately consider him in your mind? Because I know, you're one of those people kind of like Ted. You're not all about the hyperbole. You kind of just want things to play out, and then you'll kind of make your decision. How are you feeling on that?
No, well, the MVP thing is all about the numbers, right?
It is.
It's not about your impact, what you do. Are you carrying the team or are you helping the team? Nothing. It's all about the numbers of the quarterback, no other position. Okay, then let's just look at the numbers of the quarterback. Brock is number one in basically every category, right? With that being said, I was listening to another analyst and they asked him, what do you got to do to win MVP? And he said, well, you got to win your division. You got to have a high touchdown or interception ratio. Got to have a high completion percentage. All this excellent quarterback stuff. Well, he's up there. He's got every box ticked. Plus the team is rolling. So he's going to get the benefit of he's the quarterback of the team. Team's rolling. He gets all the credit. So yes, he definitely gets that consideration, especially when you look at a guy like Jalen Hurts, who, you know, has thrown for 150 yards in a game. And just because the Eagles won, he's an MVP candidate, even though his performance was substandard, right? And other quarterbacks have been that way as well. So if that's the criteria, then Brock is definitely in the conversation. And at this point in the season, he should be leading the conversation.
Yep. Whether people like him or not, whether you agree that a last pick in the draft, Mr. Irrelevant,
a guy with matter at all,
small stature and a noodle arm that everybody says, all that stuff. It's if anything's going to go against him, it's going to be all the stuff I just mentioned. Draft place. If he's a top 5 pick and he's having the season, 100% he's going to be MVP. Yeah. But it's going to always be against him. If we win the Super Bowl this year, right, and he plays well in the Super Bowl, what's the goalpost going to be moved to next? What do you think it is? He only did this because
he was on the 49ers.
That good because it's never going to end.
Yeah.
Doesn't change. BC, Purdy, MVP?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Why not? You know, he's been consistently throughout the whole season from actually since last year, you know, considered rookie of the year. And he's just really continued to carry everything on. Probably would have been in the Super Bowl last year. Probably could have, would have, right? But we don't know that, you know, but we all know we would have been in the Super Bowl last year if he would have been healthy.
Yep.
And we probably would have beat the Chiefs last year because the Chiefs aren't the same team that they want you to think they are. We should have beat the Chiefs the first Super Bowl. And, you know, it's funny that Mahomes is crying about penalties that he won Super Bowls off of. I'm not the only person who said that. I'm not. And it's just funny. It really is. The guy sounds like Kermit the Frog. And, you know.
Coming from a guy who does too, I can guess. I agree with that.
He's elite, you know, and I don't think, like David said it earlier, I don't think you can necessarily take, you know, once you become elite, you're elite, right? You become a Super Bowl ring winner. They can cut your finger off, but you still won the chip, right? You know, I mean, like, so I don't think they can take it away from you. So, like, you know, people, you don't have to agree with me right here, but I'm just saying, I'm gonna throw people's names out, like Kurt Warner. He was elite. He went to 3 different Super Bowls with 3 different, you know, 2 different teams. You know, almost won. You know, all 3 of them. He was in you know, game-winning drives at the end to win almost each one. You know, you look at Brett Favre. Everybody's like, "Oh, Brett Favre's a great player. Look at how many, you know, interceptions he had." Well, he was a gunslinger. That's not an excuse. To be not accurate is not an excuse. You know, you threw the ball up there and your player made the play, or he didn't, and the other team did. Okay, but he's elite, right? Because he won a Super Bowl. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won 1 and lost 1. So again, it's like you're not going to go and take it from him. But if you talk about somebody like Trent Dilfer, Trent Dilfer is not elite. Oh man, he's not elite, right? He had that defense and all that other stuff. All he had to do was turn around and hand off the ball. I mean, no. I don't think it's all that. There's 32 teams in the NFL. Not every NFL team has been to a Super Bowl or won a Super Bowl. Just get into the dance doesn't mean you have a dance partner or you're any good at it, right? So, you know, shout out to all the wallflowers out there, but there's several teams out there that probably will never win a Super Bowl. And why? Maybe it's because of the market. Maybe it's because they're in an area where they don't get a lot of exposure or something. I don't think that's fair. I don't know how to change that, but it takes a lot to be a quarterback. And then to take your team to the Super Bowl, you got to call the plays, make sure everybody's lined up right, no offsides. All that is blamed on you. Now, it's blamed on the individual who messes up later, but if you call the play before, you know, and say, hey, and they're not upset, who's at fault? It's the general on the team, right? The quarterback, the leader of the clubhouse, right? So, you know, I don't think you could take it away. And elite to me, you know, like everybody's been saying it, elite means you're doing it at the top of your level, right? And you're doing it better than anybody else around you. Now, we're not going to break down, well, how long were you elite? No, right now, Brock Purdy's playing at an elite level. And you can throw out, you know, Dak Prescott's playing really good and stuff like that. I almost look at the Cowboys offense and look at our offense, and I'm not going to say they have a better offense, but they got legitimate wide receivers. They got a legitimate offensive line. Now we got other players that, again, help us, equal out the balance, and everything, balance the force. But I just got to look at it and say, like, okay, if you want to say someone's elite, that's your opinion. That's it. We've seen Tom Brady. Everybody knows Tom Brady threw fits on the sidelines and stuff. And if he would, it's because of Tom Brady's injury when he got hit in the knee that we got a different rule change. It's because of Tom Brady and the tuck rule, we got a rule change. I mean, how many more do I need to go on to? So now you're elite because the league has changed. Like, they didn't want Colin Kaepernick winning the Super Bowl. You guys don't have to believe me, don't have to agree with me. They didn't want Kaepernick winning the Super Bowl. So Flacco won the Super Bowl, right? You can't tell me you try the same 4 plays in a row and think you're going to, like, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over.
Over and over, expecting different results. Yep.
Gore ran it all the way down there. And we finally have an opportunity right now to turn that ship around and maybe, correct that loss. But we'll see what happens. Again, you can't take elite from somebody. When somebody does a good job, you say good job, and it's it. Now they can go to bed. They can lay peacefully the rest of their time and know they did a good job on that moment, right? So whether or not they go to the Hall of Fame, that's somebody else's vote. There's a lot of players out there that aren't in the Hall of Fame, deserve it, and will never get there. And it's sad. It's sad. But you can't have everybody in the phone book.
No.
You just can't.
No, you're right.
Dude, you're
David,
fired up.
David,
Aaron asked you about MVP, and you went all the way to the Hall of Fame. You are fired up.
Hey, man, I love BC because he just kind of takes things in different directions. He's not linear with his comments. Like,
exactly.
I am going to make a comment about it and be completely robotic. That's not him. Before, David, I'll let you speak. I made a comment last week about people penalizing Brock for having weapons as a reason why you can't say he's an MVP caliber or he's turning into a really good player. They said it during the broadcast. Who's the tight end that was on the broadcast?
Greg
yesterday?
Olsen.
Greg Olsen said, why are we going to, we keep penalizing Brock for having good players around him. Then I watched another thing. I think it was Richard Sherman talking about Montana had freaking Jerry Rice in his prime and John Taylor. Why didn't we penalize Montana?
He didn't have it his first year, in 82 and 84,
right.
So, right. Get out of here, man. Like,
you know what it is, man? It's people, they just don't want to give Brock credit. It's the goalpost. Okay, somebody's mad because their guy ended up not making this team and got sent somewhere else.
It's not even
and
that.
They are just going to say F this franchise forever.
It's not even that.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's not even that.
Is Jim Plunkett a better quarterback than Joe Montana? He went to the Super Bowl. No, he went to the Super Bowl with the Raiders.
We know that.
The following year, right after the Niners did, right? And he was a good quarterback for the Raiders for at least 8 years there, 6 years. So, I mean, like, seriously, did he have all the weapons that the 49ers had? So with that mentality, is Jim Plunkett ideally a better quarterback than Joe Montana? Because Jim couldn't get it done with Joe's team. They added more people and stuff, but we remember Jim Plunkett had White Bronco. You guys know what I'm talking about. OJ.
Orenthal.
I mean, like, I know he was at the end of his career, but that was still talent, right? I mean, like, there was something still left in the tank. We didn't just like sign him to give him a free paycheck, right? So, guys, come on. Just say Jeff Hostetler is better quarterback than Brett Favre, or why? Why? Because Brett Favre had more. He had, your weapons are your weapons. If you can't get it done with your hands, then that's the only person you have to blame.
Yep. McNew, my man, Brock Purdy, MVP.
Well, I honestly think yes. Look at this team last year. There not much on offense has actually changed. At the beginning we had Trey Lance, and unfortunately he got injured. And then here comes Jimmy. And Jimmy, we're averaging, I think it was 25.6 points per game. I actually had all this figured out at the end of the season.
He was around there.
I did all the math. Yeah. And, he was doing pretty good, but even Jimmy, James Richard, he stinks in the playoffs. His numbers are not good.
Yeah.
And this goes way back to even our Super Bowl season. He didn't do that hot in the playoffs. So, for years I've been saying we need a step up from James Richard Garoppolo.
We did.
And, who is this guy we have at quarterback? He's Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick in the draft. He's small. He's got small hands. He's got a noodle arm. He's a really good quarterback. And, raise your hand if you don't like rooting for the underdog, because that's what he is.
I don't like rooting for the underdog. Not me, not here.
But yeah, here he comes. He came in last season. I don't think any of us saw this coming. Myself, I didn't see it coming. I was doing a podcast with Wolf. I'm sure you. I think Aaron's familiar with who that is. I don't know if you are, Ty.
We don't know Wolf. Yeah, we all know Wolf.
Okay. But I was doing a podcast with him, and Brock Purdy came in a game in relief, and he didn't look that good.
All right.
That was the Chiefs game.
I was saying he looked pretty bad. I was like,
he did.
And he really did when he came in that game for relief, and we were blowing someone out. I don't even remember who.
No. That was the Kansas City Chief game.
That was the Chiefs game.
Everybody
came in at the end of that one. Yeah.
We were losing that game.
You're right. We were getting blown out.
Yeah. Brock Purdy had a bad handoff. He was supposed to hand off like on the right side, and the running back went on the left side, and it was really kind of funny because they met there and they whispered, softness things to each other or whatever. But it was bad. But Brock, he did have a couple good passes. I think that was one of the first times he hit Ray in stride, and we were starting to move the ball. So it was at that moment, it was almost like Jimmy's not getting it done, but this guy is not afraid to throw the ball. So I think that was the first time everybody's eyebrows raised.
Nah, everybody's eyebrows got raised in preseason, really, when they saw him slinging it.
But they were trying preseason.
And it was like, oh, this kid not looking too bad. You know what? He looks like a mix of Jimmy G and Nick Mullins. He looked like a mix of Jimmy G and Nick Mullins.
You know what, Ty? I definitely had a Nick Mullins vibe when he started because he was kind of small. He's kind of small. He's kind of squirrely looking. It was not really squirrely looking. He just looks like a little kid.
Yeah, but he is. He's
like a
14-year-old stature man, right?
when they show him coming into the tunnel with his book bag, he looks like a guy, like someone who's in high school.
Like a high school kid.
He could play Marty McFly right now if they rebooted Back to the Future. Exactly. That's how young he looked. Purdy. Somebody's got to do. We got to get what's your name, or maybe Roscoe's. We got to do a Brock Purdy as Marty, and maybe have like Kyle Shanahan as like Doc Brown or something, and just have somebody make a whole thing. I think, and then send it to him. That would be great. But yeah, he looks like Marty McFly.
Hey, you're giving me some ideas. I'm actually working on that stuff on the side. Believe it.
Do it. Now I want to give credit to the offense here. As of right now during the season, here are some of the stats, and then I'll ask you guys about it. So right now in offense, Brandon Ayuk has 56 receptions for 1,053 yards and 6 touchdowns. Kittle, 53 receptions, 811 yards, 6 touchdowns. McCaffrey, 52 receptions, 437 yards, 5 touchdowns. I don't know why they're not adding his. I think this is just receptions wise. Samuel, 45 receptions, 739 yards, and 4 TDs. Combined, 206 receptions for 3,040 yards and 21 TDs. Just wow. we have a chance to have an 1,000-yard rusher or a 1,500-yard rusher.
Yep.
2 1,000-yard receivers. Maybe Kittle. Maybe 3.
Maybe,
I don't know if Kittle's going to go over 1,000, but he could. Isn't it? I mean, this is like they compared. I was watching something. They compared Purdy's season to like the Greatest Show on Turf season. Like as far as just the offense and how anybody can beat you on any play. Like that touchdown pass to Debo yesterday. That was a perfect throw, man. That was a perfect throw.
Yes.
And he was the last guy in the progression. Last guy. They said he was the last guy in the progression. Like,
well, he was the clear out guy, basically.
Yeah.
He was the guy that's going to clear out the middle, and you hit Ayuk on the backside.
Yeah.
But when you got can't cover anybody, Jamal Anderson sitting there, you know.
Oh, I was just going to ask you.
You got to take advantage of that.
It's hot garbage in coverage. Wow.
We all know he can't cover nothing.
Debo come out. He said he wasn't even running on that play. He was the fourth option
because he was just a clear out guy.
He wasn't expecting to get the ball, and then he turned his head and he seen Brock seen him, and then he started running. So I don't like hearing that. I don't like hearing that you're not trying. They pay you a lot of money to run hard, but hey, at least he caught the ball, right?
You gotta measure your effort in every game because you gotta save it for the playoffs. So if he wants to take a playoff or he's not running full speed, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, but you can't say that, really, can you? Like,
no, I'm totally being ridiculous. I totally don't believe that.
Think about it. Like today, I go to work, right? I work really hard, right? Oh, I should save a little bit back because we got the winter month coming. And like if you work out every day, right? If you work out every day and you train, you should be physically fit. There should be no like delay. There should be no drop off at all. There should be, I'm a soldier. I'm a football player. I'm built for this, right? And so for people to say, they need a time off, they need breaks. Why? Are they not going to sleep early enough at nighttime? Or what are they doing? Are they playing Call of Duty? What are they doing? Because we know there are certain football players that go to sleep exactly at 9 o'clock. I think Bosa, right? Doesn't Bosa go to sleep?
He said he gets like 17 hours of sleep or something like that. I'm like, damn.
Must be good.
Guys, I don't know, man. I don't think I don't think you can these arguments like Roger Craig when he was running the football for the 49ers. Did you guys were around a little bit? You guys heard more a little bit and could retain more than I could. I was a little bit out of diapers. Did anybody say, "Don't keep giving Roger the ball"? Oh my God, he's going to get 2,000 yards rushing, and we need him for the playoffs. Did anybody say that? So like this whole argument about CMC, we're going to use them all up. There's going to be no juice left. Guys, a year ago when we went to trade for him, I said, I want him. I want him. If the Niners have to offer up 2 first-round picks, he's worth it. Everybody's like, whoa, that's not what we need. He's worth it. And we ended up giving up the draft picks that we did, and everybody was upset at the time that we give it up. Why? We're winning. You can't use the draft picks when you're not winning, right? They don't do anything for you. Use them now, get the players, and let's keep going. Guys, I don't know. I don't need to see more. I'm already sold.
100%. But like I was saying earlier, we need a step up from James. Brock Purdy at this point is 3 steps up from James and climbing.
So what we saw yesterday to me was why we were all excited to step away from James, right? It didn't matter who the quarterback was. Forget names for a second. When we were going into the draft and we knew we were going to get a quarterback, we were excited because we were going to finally step away from James for one specific reason. We wanted a guy who would be able to attack the entire field.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we all know James just lived inside the numbers, basically on the hashes, close to the line of scrimmage. He would not go outside the numbers. He definitely wasn't going downfield. We saw yesterday Seattle was packing the middle of the field. They was attacking it. We saw Kittle take some big hits. Ayuk got a hit. Debo got hit trying to break some tackles. They're packing the middle of the field. So what the Kyle do? Start attacking the outsides. Purdy will put it up out there. Right?
Yes.
We know James wasn't doing
will.
that. We know James was not attacking out there. And if he did throw it out there, that ball was ugly. The missing wide open guys, throwing it out of bounds. It was just ugly.
He hated that wheel route. He didn't like throwing that mess at all.
Because he would always miss it. How many times was Kyle Juszczyk wide open on the wheel route outside? He would just miss them. You can't find juice. That's why we were excited to move on from James. And
yeah, bad habit of throwing the linebackers.
Yeah, we got a guy that can not only attack the outside, but he can execute that middle of the field stuff like a genius. So we got the best of both worlds, right? Everyone should be happy.
I'm so with this team. I feel like every game I've seen enough as far as like I'm impressed. Like this, they can't impress me any differently, depending on who it is. It could be Purdy, it could be CMC, Debo.
People step
and then
up
we play
game.
And then we play another game, and just something else ridiculous happens. I don't usually watch highlights and stuff because it's pointless because we got another game to play. But I can't tell you how many times I rewatched those Eagles highlights last week. And then yesterday's game too, and it's just the commentary team that they had. They brought the same guy. I think it's like Burkhart.
Yeah, Burkhart and Olsen. That's
Burkhart and Olsen are really they're the best. They're the best commentary team right now, other than maybe. And I'm not a big Buck fan, whatever his name is.
Aikman, yeah.
I'm not but Buck's really good. But I've watched too many games where he's commentating and we're losing, so I usually put him on mute when we play because I'm like it gives me like PTSD like from like an NFC Championship game or something. But
right,
man, the Niners. A lot of people say they're the best team in the NFL right now. Just the fact that they've beaten all their opponents that have legitimate records. They haven't just beaten them; they've smashed them.
Yeah,
like legitimately 42-10 Cowboys. 42 was it 42-19 Eagles.
Yep.
They smashed the Jaguars. I guess I'll kind of move the conversation into this direction now, but if we have to look at the remaining schedule, the remaining 4 games, we play in Arizona, then we host the Ravens, we go to the Commanders, and then we host the Rams to close out the season. I said this yesterday to myself. All of those games stress me out because if a team isn't playing for anything, they want to spoil it. The Rams are always tough. And essentially with the Ravens, you're going against, which is what is probably going to be the representative of the AFC in the Super Bowl, if not them, Miami. Like I'm happy that we got the number 1 seed, but that don't guarantee, man. It doesn't guarantee anything. I just want to pick your guys' brain. BC, I'll start with you. Like, just like who worries you the most in this final 4 games of the regular season? Oh, you're muted.
The Rams.
The Rams.
The Rams. Yep. The Rams. Yep. They beat the Eagles. Well, they almost beat they beat the Seahawks twice. Then they almost beat. I don't think they played Dallas, but they almost beat the Ravens the other day. Man, when we played them the first game the second game this season, they seemed to know how to line up against us really, really well. It was Puka Nacua. He had his game day. I know we're a different, defense now. We're going to be playing a little bit different, but
right.
Yeah, it's the Rams. We'll probably go all the way up to the Rams game, and then that'll be the one game that. I'm thinking if we don't keep our heads up, that'll be a trap game, and everybody will be okay with it. They'll be like, "Oh, well, we got the number 1 seed. It's okay to lose." It's never okay to lose. It's never okay to lose. Why play the game if you just don't care?
Dallas would step right in if we finish with the same record. They would step right into that. My whole thing is to pay attention to the Seattle Philly game. Hopefully that, I don't think Philly's going to drop another game, but then again, the way they've been playing, you never know. They're going to Seattle, and it can be a difficult place to play. It hasn't been for the 49ers in the last couple of years because we're just a superior team to the Seahawks at every level. But it wasn't always that way. I mean, during the Legion of Boom, man, we went up there. It was an automatic L, and automatic a bunch of injuries too. Like, it was just every time there, it was like a house of horrors, right?
They were dirty.
And, they were super dirty.
I don't mind people saying it the way you're saying it, but we really need to give credit to Seattle before the Legion of Boom. They swept us several years in a row. We had the record. We held the series record because we had played them before the merger. But when we went into 2003 and we started playing the Seahawks all the time, I think it was our first game we swept them. And then from there, it was we've only split with them like 3 times. Like actually swept them like 3 times until the recent years. It wasn't all Russell Wilson, Sean Alexander, Mike Holmgren, Matt Hackle.
Exactly. They used to run it down our throats.
Yeah.
I still have the newspaper clip of Alex Smith's first victory against the Seahawks. And Seattle is no joke. No joke. They built that stadium to keep the noise in, and it's effective.
Anybody else got comments on the overall the rest of the schedule, David or Ty?
Well, it's one game at a time, man. We can't overlook any team. We control our own destiny at this point, and we must win one game at a time all the way out. We got the Red Chickens coming up. No matter how bad they are, they always seem to be pesky.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
And the mighty midget Murray is back.
I can't stand that guy. I hate his ass.
Yeah, if you can play football with
does, just spinning.
Yeah. If you can play football with a game controller like PlayStation or Xbox, then he'd probably love it. But
what the Niners need to do is they need to show up to his hotel room the night before the game or his house, bring over like a couple game systems and do like an all-night Call of Duty fest because we know he's addicted to games. Get his ass so tired, get his eyes all bloodshot. So he goes in that 49er game and he's just like, he won't know whether to shit or wind his watch. He'd be like, what's happening? Wait, where are the zombies? I don't see the zombies. Where, who's got the sniper rifle? Like, that's what we need to do to him because we know he loves video games more than football. Yep. So, the Cardinals scare me just because, like you said, it's a division game. It's in Arizona. They have zero to play for other than to spoil our ass, which is always. It's just I say that and then we go and we kick their ass. But like if you like all 4 of these games got me not worried, but like not the Niners knowing that they have the number 1 seed really doesn't solve anything yet. We haven't accomplished anything.
It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything right now.
No,
it's just a number right now. That's it. There's still a ton of football left to be played.
Yep. And then
so everybody everyone's celebrating, and yes, it feels good. Yes, blah, blah, blah. But it truly means nothing. Just like last week when we were at the number 2 seed, it meant nothing because there's still a ton of football left to be played. We saw how the Eagles went from number 1 to number 5 like that. That's how quickly it can turn. So you still got to handle your business week in and week out until the season is over. So they just need to handle their business. Cardinals and the Rams are always tricky because they're division games. And we know Sean McVay just wants to finally beat Kyle. So he's going to do everything he can do. And the Rams are a rival. We know how that goes. Arizona has just been a thorn in our sides over the years. Plus their new head coach, he was the Eagles defensive coach last year. So he has just something to prove to himself. Like, I got these guys number whatever. So those are the tricky ones. But I think if this team just does what it does, we'll be okay.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I got a question. I got a
Go
question.
ahead. Yeah.
All right. This little bit off topic, but I think it's a good question.
Okay.
With Jimmy Garoppolo, right? We signed him in 2014 after the 5 games, the winning streak. We were all like, "Oh my god!" Right?
2017.
2017.
2017, yeah.
Did I say 15?
14,
Anyways,
you said.
You said 14. Yeah, you went way back.
so 2017 is when we signed Jimmy, right? And we signed him after 5 games. Other teams wanted to sign him immediately after he had the 5 games. We chose not to sign Tom Brady at that time. We chose to sign Jimmy Garoppolo again. Did we at that point, did we not know he couldn't throw deep, or was it until 2018, until after his ACL injury, he lost the ability to throw deep? Because I'm a little confused.
We had him on a 5-year contract, Bryant.
Correct.
So
I don't
we
know if they ever.
Correct. We signed him, right? And we should have known what his athleticism and his abilities was, what he was able to do, right? So I know he'd already broken his arm or his shoulder in New England. He had like two starts in New England, or 4 starts, and he couldn't.
1.5.
Yeah. Brissett got to start one. Yeah. So at what point did we learn, Jimmy, you can't throw deep? Was it during the first 5 games, or we were just winning, so we just didn't care? Because like, if you tell me that they knew he couldn't throw deep, then why did they sign him to what $127 million or something like that? Like, why?
Because we couldn't get Kirk Cousins. That's who Shanahan wanted all along.
But you understand, if you know this guy can't run fast and you need him to run fast, why sign him, right? Why sign this guy if he can't throw the ball deep? He can throw really quick. Okay, but we need you to go down the field, right? And then I don't know. I think it happened in his 2018 injury. I think when he got hit by Kansas City, I think, because to me it does not make any sense that they would have signed him to that big of a contract if he had the noodle arm that he had.
He didn't have a noodle arm. His arm is okay. He has an average to above average NFL arm. Jimmy can throw it. It's the fact that he doesn't. Listen, they panicked. Let's put it out there. This was their biggest flub. They panicked, right? In 2017, they were charged with turning this thing around, and they were right on the cusp. Like, the defense started playing very well in 2017.
Right.
And they were carrying the team. The offense was not. And the quarterback position was like the root of it. Brian Hoyer wasn't getting it done.
Oh my God, I can't.
CJ Beathard came in, and his greatest trait was that he's a warrior.
He's a warrior.
He hangs in the pocket. He takes a beating. Yeah, exactly. Like,
he can't read the field, so he just keeps holding onto the ball.
He'll battle for you. Okay, but he's not executing well enough. So they was like, we need the plan was to wait for Kirk Cousins, but when you're losing games, and remember we had that 5-game span where we lost by like 3 points or less, and the defense was keeping us in, but the offense is doing nothing. They panicked, and it was like we just need a quarterback. So good old Bill Belichick got on the phone with Kyle and was like, "Hey, I got this magic bag of beans. It only appeared in 6 quarters of football, but everybody is saying this magic bag of beans is the greatest."
And he's handsome.
They made the trade.
Right.
And he came in and we won 6, and everyone said he won those 6 games. It wasn't the collective. It wasn't the defense shutting down Jacksonville or, this and that. It was, they all put it on him. He won it. So they gave him the contract. But we know he got hurt 3 games into the next season. And after that, we saw a plateau of his play and a little bit of a decline. He got a little happy feet in the pocket. He lost all confidence in his deep ball to the point where he didn't even throw it at times. Right? We all saw guys running open. He would throw the check down.
Championship game against the Rams in LA.
Like, it just
people are running wide open.
He lost it. So those are things you can't predict. Like, they thought, okay, we got a guy, we can coach him up, build him up. He seems to have it. But like I said, his play just automatically plateaued and dipped. And where is he now?
He might be starting for the Raiders here coming soon. Did you guys see the Raiders score? 0-3. I'm going to watch that entire game because I bet there's a bunch of punts, and I know a field goal won that game, so I'm going to be on that game here a little bit.
Wow.
I tell you what,
I don't think I could do it.
0-3. I'm going to get me a nice cup of coffee, and I'm gonna log in for the evening.
What Brian's going to do is he's going to go do his coffee talk stream, and he's like, you know what we're doing today? We're watching Raiders film.
Yep.
Our Raiders game. This game, they didn't even score a point.
Raiders,
baby.
So okay, if we end up having to play the Packers lose today, that doesn't make their playoff chances very good, but we get a playoff spot. We don't need them to get a playoff spot, obviously, but with the Packers, the Vikings, the Eagles, we don't know if it's going to be Tampa Bay or the Saints, but it looks like it'll be Detroit. Dallas will be there somewhere. Same with Eagles, and hopefully we'll be the number 1 seed. At this point, I don't have a problem with Green Bay or Minnesota being in the playoffs. I don't really want to see Seattle or the Rams make the playoffs at all. I don't want to see Atlanta either. We don't do good against bird teams. I know maybe this year, but we don't necessarily do good against bird teams. So if we can keep the birds out of the playoffs, hey, let's go. We already took down Baker Mayfield, so it's either going to be him or the Saints. And I don't trust the Saints at this point. I really don't.
I say bring on the top competition, especially if we get that bye week and we're healthy and we get rest. I almost, in a way, am kind of happy that every game from here on out affects our seeding, because that means you go into the playoffs playing like football that means something, instead of like a week and a half and you're like sitting guys in the last game of the season, and then you go into the playoffs and you lose in the first like division round like Baltimore did a couple years ago. Go ahead, Ty.
Well, remember, real football starts in December, right?
That's right.
This is where you get ready. Right now, we are in playoff mode. That game last week, we were in playoff mode.
Yep.
Today,
100%.
Yesterday, playoff mode. Okay, there's seeding at stake. There's the division at stake. There's a lot at stake right now. We're in playoff mode, where all these games mean something. And if we don't handle our business, we could be in the back of the bus, or we won't even make the bus. Like, a lot can happen. So we're in playoff mode, and this is great for us because we're not going to be surprised by anybody once the playoffs begin.
You're going to get everybody's best shot.
Yeah, and we're getting it now.
And we're getting everybody's best shot now. People hear that the Niners are so good. Oh, I want to measure myself up against the best. I'm going to come in. I'm going to play like Bryant was saying, like Drew Lock to start that game. He was fearless. He's chucking that all over the place, man. Yeah. I was like, oh boy, are we going to make this guy look like a freaking Hall of Famer? And for a little bit, I was worried. And then, comment about Wilkes in the comments. Wilkes, listen, man. He's done a really good job with these DBs, man. Because you got to think, like, we're down to like we had to reshuffle our secondary yesterday, and we have a backup safety in there. And so I just
I don't know about Steve Wilkes, though. We gave up 19 points to the Eagles, we gave up 19 points to Cleveland, and everybody wanted to fire him then.
I just wanted to know what the hell was going on. I never wanted to fire him, though.
We have an official new name for Steve Wilkes. David, would you like to tell everybody?
Sideline Steve.
Oh, yeah, Sideline Steve. That's right.
Sideline Steve.
Oh, instead of Scuba Steve from Toy Story, we have Sideline Steve.
Sideline
from Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo.
Oh, my God. Do you know he's actually a 49ers fan, the guy who played in that movie? Yep.
Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider, yeah.
Yep. So is what's his name, who played Hawkeye? Jeremy Renner. Big 49ers fan.
Big one, yeah. There's a lot out there.
There's a lot. There's the Usos from wrestling, the guys, Rikishi's sons, they love the 49ers. Bailey,
female wrestler.
Freaking, I even think Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns is one also.
Yeah,
yep.
That's so crazy. Like, I don't really watch. I've kind of got a little excited with wrestling because CM Punk returned. I'm a big CM Punk guy. I don't really watch wrestling, but I'll watch like segments. Yeah, like Jesse Sapolo was at a game, I think like last year or the year before, and then they were showing like different like wrestlers who are 49er fans. I'm just like, that's amazing. A lot of the island guys, Samoans, are big 49er fans. It's interesting. It's interesting. You know, you can live in the islands, but you're watching Niner games down there if you got a satellite. That's just 49er fans are everywhere. We got the UK. I forget the name of the channel. I'm in trying to work on a stream with them soon. The guys from the UK. I forget their
49er
name.
Faithful UK.
Yeah. That's
my
we
guys.
do. We're branching out, dude. We're everywhere. It's just awesome. Yeah. Real quick, I want to get your guys' thoughts on the signing of Verrett and what your expectations are, and then the rumor and innuendo that maybe we go after Zach Ertz. I'll start with Ty.
Verrett, veteran presence. We have not seen him in 2 years, so I have no expectations. You know, until I see him out there. Like, he's a guy coming off multiple leg injuries. Like I said, we haven't seen him on the field in 2 years. Everyone's working off nostalgia right now. They're thinking of 2020 Jason Verrett. Think about that. That's 3 years ago.
Yep.
So a lot can change. I'm real happy with the guys we got in the building.
Yep. Womack, Luter.
Like exactly. Like Womack, Luter. When I saw Womack on the field yesterday,
I was happy.
I got very excited. I was like, yes, my boy's out there.
Number 0. Yeah, I was very happy.
Damn it. Like, I wanted to see him get some reps.
Me too. What do you think the problem is with that? Why is he not getting the starting reps?
I think they're just set on their depth chart.
Okay.
Right? They are seriously set on that depth chart of, Mooney, Lenore, Thomas, and the stupid guy, 26. What's his name? I drew a blank just now.
Isaiah, I can't cover anybody in the slot. Oliver.
Exactly, Oliver. Like, that's their set depth chart, right?
Yeah.
So unless another guy goes down, then we'll see, Luter or Womack out there. But it was good to just see him out there, even for that one play. He's doing a great job on special teams, by the way. But Verrett, like I said, he's on a practice squad. Hopefully they get a real good look at him on practice squad to see where he's at. We know when he was previously injured, it took him some time to get up to speed. If you remember, like, he wasn't just in game
when they
shape
stuck
right
him
away.
in the 2019 season, they took him out, and we never
took
saw
him out quickly
again.
Because he didn't have it. He needed more time to get ready and to get himself acclimated. So I'm expecting the same thing. Like, he's a piece there for the playoff runs in case of injury, like in case of emergency, break glass, and he'll be the glass breaker. But that's way down the line. We still got Womack and Luter there. Yeah. So that's okay. And Ertz will be a great compliment to just the passing game, another pass catching tight end. A
lot of people are crapping on it, though. I heard a lot of people crapping on it, like, oh, we don't need him. He's old. He's this, he's that. I'm like, how can you say that about a guy who's still a productive tight end?
The dude get open. We saw him last year when he played. Yeah. He was out there getting open, catching passes. That's what we need. And with the way Kyle can dial things up for him,
right.
Hey, he can make plays out there.
BC, thoughts on the Verrett and that tight end guy we were just talking about? Ertz.
Yeah. So start with Verrett. Me and David's talked a little bit about it over the this offseason. I've been saying, where's he at? And I think everybody giggles when I say it. Oh, he's they say, oh, he's going to go to Houston. He's going to go where they pay him. And the reason he hasn't been signed yet is because he was waiting to get signed by us, but he wanted a higher paycheck. And then, with everything that happened, maybe they're going to sign him already. Maybe they're going to, but it looks like what happened yesterday on the field with our injury with Ward, that just might have got the pen to the paper a little bit faster for him. So maybe he got the offer he wanted.
Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really.
I don't think we better grab him now. He's here. Sign him.
Yeah, I don't think they would have signed him if they tried him out and they seen that he's not able to cut or not able to run, or the guy hasn't played ball for a couple of years. He doesn't even know how to catch anymore. I don't think that's the case. I think he's been rehabbing, he's been training, and he's somebody that I would consider very, very dedicated. I don't know him, I don't know him that well. I just the kind of player that we've seen him, like you just referred to, that year that he was just at locked. Nobody threw the ball at him the entire season. So if he comes in for a couple of plays through a game and they don't try him, that's what we need, So I'm excited for it. As far as Zach Ertz, it's about like weapons of mass destruction right now. A weapon race. We can't let the Eagles get him. We have yeah, that's what we need. Even if we don't use him, he's not on the Eagles team. He's not on the Cowboys team. And it's like, if you guys seen yesterday, I think they threw the ball to Warner. It wasn't a bad pass, and he caught it. But Ertz would be down the field further. He's not a blocker, but he can catch. And yesterday, I had talked to one of my friends during the game, and I called him and I said, "Hey, is Jimmy Garoppolo out there throwing passes?" And he started laughing, and he's like, "Oh, did you see the hospital ball that Brock Purdy just threw to Kittle?" I'm like, "Oh my God, like let's try to keep our guys from not getting hit really hard and getting blown up." It happens in the game, right? Sometimes you have to put the ball in harm's way, right? And Kittle is big and he can usually run over somebody. But that hit, they clipped his leg on the left side and he went down and he was grabbing his leg. And then I'm like, Kittle's one of my favorite players. I don't want to see the guy get hurt. So should we not use Kittle like CMC and keep him on the sideline so we can save him for the playoffs? Then sign Ertz. Yeah.
If you want to hide him, then we'll just have him sit out the rest. Yeah. You can't hide guys on the NFL. Injuries happen. If they're going to happen, they're going to happen.
Playmakers want to play. They don't want to sit. But that's what I got. Sign him. And I like Verrett. So bring him on in.
David?
Football is a violent sport.
Yes, it is.
Injuries happen every week.
And they happen when you're not even playing football.
That's exactly it. How many injuries do we see that are like non-contact? The guy's not even getting hit and he's, injured.
It's down.
Verrett.
A prime example.
Yes. You're not lying, As of right now, I haven't even looked into what's wrong with Mooney Ward and what the outlook there is.
They said that him and Hargrave have a possibility of playing next week, that both of their injuries are not serious.
Yeah,
that's what the report
Mooney just
was.
Had a slight growing thing. He tried to work it out, but it felt tight. So they kept him out really as a precaution. You don't want to aggravate that thing. And then he's out for weeks.
Right. Right. 100%.
Well, and that brings up a whole new question. Should we actually play him this next week? Look at what we were doing. Look what we were doing without Hargrave. They were doing what we were doing last year. They were bringing in an edge to pass rush from the inside, and they were bringing the interior guys in on running downs.
I heard that they're working Randy Gregory inside right now. That there's been some talk that Randy Gregory's been getting some reps at D tackle. So,
well, they used him on rush downs at D tackle. I really like what they did with the rush line yesterday. I was so happy with it.
They were like non-existent in the first half and the second half. That sack by Gregory from behind was like textbook, like Madden, like around the corner, and he just took his big long ass arms and was just like pop and knocked the guy down. I was like, because
they were experimenting with that kind of Corvette package.
Yeah,
where it was either Bosa, Young, Gregory, and Farrell in the mix with like just one big guy, be it Kinlaw or Givens, and just having those three guys just kind of race to the quarterback while the one big guy kind of takes up two blockers.
Yeah.
So you get 1-on-1 with three guys, and it was so impressive to see. And they would move Bosa on the inside at one time, or Gregory was on the inside at one time, and Young. Like they really switched it up to keep the offensive line guessing as to what would happen. So if we can get that going for the rest of the season, I really like the D line just putting pressure on people.
That was some impressive D-line work. That one stunt by Bosa where he came inside and chased the quarterback from behind and got him. He was like looking to see, like, did they get a sack? Are they going to give me a sack? That was great.
Because he did the same thing to Jalen Hurts last week.
Yeah.
And they said, no, he was like just above the line of scrimmage or something, so it wasn't a sack. And I'm looking at it on TV like, he's behind the line of scrimmage. That should be a sack. I don't know why it wasn't, but he got robbed on that one. So that's why this week he's like, that's a sack, right? You guys are robbing me.
He's had a nice second half of the season since we brought in some help. I just want to ask you guys as fans, how important is it as a fan to just enjoy this renaissance that we're experiencing and not try to psychoanalyze everything? Like, just good freaking team with a chance, hopefully, to win a championship this year. Like, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a team that's never in it, but has high draft picks every single year? Woo, the draft's awesome. I can't wait for the draft. Or would you want a team that's like, you know what, we're going to take that draft pick and we're going to trade it for a known commodity because we have a roster that can win? Like, I watch every game with a lot of thankfulness and just a good feeling for the way this franchise turned around after 2017. It's been a great run. I know we still haven't won the chip that we want, but it's, as a fan, to see your team that you cheer for actually give a crap and not just pocket money and go try to build a championship caliber team every single season, especially as an East Coaster where I don't even get to go to games. And my biggest thing is watching on television. I don't know, man. I'm just enjoying everything right now.
I think it's very important. I think it's very, very important, you know, as a guy who lived through lean years and then the dynasty years where your team was relevant every year, where it was always talked about that, hey, the road to the Super Bowl may go through San Francisco, and we were always in the mix. There was always that hope that this is our year, we could win it. Like, I think it's important that you sit back and enjoy what you're seeing and what's going on, especially the way the offense is playing right now, the defense, the special teams. It's a full complementary football amongst the entire team.
100%.
And it doesn't happen often.
Nope.
So you got to kind of sit back and enjoy this ride. Enjoy these guys getting better and better year after year. Enjoy Brock Purdy just finishing his rookie season and seeing that we talked about how Jimmy plateaued and went down. Brock is continuously doing this. He's continuously elevating his game and going upward. Enjoy this. Because
yesterday, I thought he couldn't throw. He said that in the post game.
Yeah.
Thought he couldn't throw the ball.
This is something that we can be seeing for years and years, and this is the start of it. So we got to sit back and just take some time to enjoy it.
100%. And I think this, as long as we have John Lynch or Adam Peters in some form of some combination in the front office, and as long as Kyle Shanahan's here, or even if maybe he leaves and, you know, we get, like, as long as certain people are in place, we're always going to have a franchise that, at least for the most part, has a legitimate shot of always competing. They might not win the Super Bowl. Maybe they don't, you know, they make the playoffs and get eliminated, but you're always going to say, hey, the Niners got a shot. And as long as that's the case, you can't really complain by much more than a fan. I mean, look at the Warriors before this recent run of all these years. And now it's like, it's kind of coming to an end a little bit. And it's sad. I'm not a Warriors fan, but I can see it. You know, they're not the same. They break down, guys get hurt, you know, they're just not quite. And it's, you got to just, when it's happening, I said this before one time about Patriots fans. I want to see how loyal you really are when you realize that era is done. The 49ers fans had 20 years of freaking dominance, right? Where they had a chance to go to the Super Bowl every year. They had two really good quarterbacks, this, that, and the other, Jerry Rice, whatever. And then we went through all that lean stuff. Like, are you still a fan? Like, where are these the pets? It's challenging when your team sucks, man, to watch games and root for them, you know? So
Listen, I've lived through those 1-15, 2-14 years.
Oh, so bad.
I would much rather be right here.
Yes.
Than to go back to that.
Yep. Like the Bills coach used to say, where else would you rather be than right here, right now?
Mm-hmm.
Anything with you guys feeling about this current regime and everything? How you feel about it?
You want to go, David? Because I probably got a lot. Go for it.
This regime has reminded me of, this thing that happened in the 80s and 90s. Yeah. Ed DeBartolo, Bill Walsh, George Seifert. It's 100% reminded me of it. But there's one thing missing. One thing missing. That's a Super Bowl ring. That's right.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And with the current team and how long the core is going to be around, John Lynch seems to squeak in and make a move with, he trades half a bag of chips that have been stepped on for a player, and next thing you know,
right.
We're doing really good with it,
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly think our window is maybe 3, maybe 4 seasons at this point, depending if Brock Purdy keeps ascending like he is. This could blow up into something very long term.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to see it.
Yep.
I would love to see another 5 Super Bowls come our way, in the next 15, 20 years. I would love it.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Just let me get
one at a time,
first.
right? Just like the games, just like every week, one at a time.
Yeah, we'll finish with Brian about how his feelings about the franchise.
The current franchise is legit. And you go back and you look at what's happened to our franchise up to this point, and I'll try to be as fast as possible. The transition from Steve Young to Jeff Garcia was not what we wanted. It was okay for the moment. We got a Pro Bowler out of the situation. My point is, I remember the Garrison Hurst ankle break that cost us the game against.
That cost us a Super Bowl. That cost us a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that would have been Steve Young. He would have been able to go right back up there, right?
That would have been a swan song too, right there. You could have retired after that game.
I remember the 2002 playoffs where we played against the Giants, and somehow out of the blue we ended up pulling a miracle out, right? And then we go to Tampa Bay, and at that point I realized it wasn't that I realized, but young, and just being a fan, maybe a little bit more of a homer at the time, just because young kid, right? I seen what the Bucks did to us, and their defense was way too much for our offense. We had Owens and we had Garcia, and those two guys didn't get along half the time. So there was no shot for them really to beat the Bucks. So that was our year. We could have went to the Super Bowl against the Raiders, and it just didn't happen, right? So then from there, the division changed, and we went how long? We went up to 2009, 2010 before we started making noise and people started being proud of this team again. And that's after we fired the head coach. That's after we changed
Mike Nolan,
right? So then we get up to 2011 and heartbreak happens, right? So in 2002, I seen us as a good team, but I realized we weren't good enough to get past that next step. In that 2011 run, we went 13-3 or something like that. Yep. I mean, nobody was beating us. Nobody. Yep. Got better than us. Nobody. So all that hype, all that, energy, like we've waited so long for this to happen. And we almost got there, right? We're not going to talk about number 10, not Jimmy Garoppolo. We're not talking about. So then the following season, we go on the road, right? Because we couldn't have done it in our house, right? That would have been perfect, but we couldn't have done it. So we go on the road and we get it done. We go to the Super Bowl. We fall short, right? At that point, I'm like, well, we're still a good team, right? Maybe our window's still this wide open, right? No, when we lost the Super Bowl, our window closed. Our window closed really, really fast. And we still had a team around us. We still had the ability to go. We went to the championship game
against the NFC championship game, yeah.
Right. But this is my point. The reason our window closed is because we should have been already there. We should have won it. That would have kept our window open. Because we were a good team and the team knew how to play, they got us into that next step. But then we lost again. We're out. There's no more. The organization's mad at each other. Everybody, the front office wants to fire the head coach before the season starts. So we were like, okay, this is getting crazy, right? And then we go back into the dark days. When we go to the dark days, not as long as we did between the 2000s, but we get up to 2017, and we're like, okay, we finally got a coach that we might have the best coach. Everybody got excited. We got John Lynch. Everybody's happy about that because he could be president. I mean, like anybody would vote for that guy, right? So then we finally get Jimmy Garoppolo, and I wasn't horrible or wasn't upset. I thought, hey, this guy's, we're rolling with him, right? At that point, I was like, hey, if we could get Tom Brady, let's get Tom Brady. I've always been a big fan of Aaron Rodgers, but everybody said, I'm crazy. We're not going to be able to get him. Find out later on, Tom Brady wanted to be a Niner. Aaron Rodgers wanted to be a Niner. There's been so many quarterbacks in the league during this tenure that's wanted to come for the Niners, but nobody wanted to come and play with us during that time because we didn't have money and we didn't have a team. So now in 2017, we start building the team. 2018, we're still building the team. 2019, we go to the Super Bowl and we lose again. I don't want to lose another Super Bowl. I know that's part of winning and losing and playing and stuff, but I tell you what, I'd rather win this Super Bowl this year and go 5 years and be in a bad team than lose this Super Bowl and be in the playoffs the next 5 years and lose. It's been 30 something years now. This is the quest for Corey. We are winning it this year.
Hell yeah.
If we can't win this year, then we really do need to start over. We really do, because Kittle's getting older. Debo's getting older. Everybody's already talking about restructuring his contract and letting him go so we can sign Ayuk. Ayuk, the guy who fumbled yesterday and let a ball get off of his hands for an interception. We can't blame him because he's a good player. Things happen, right? But again, this team's together right now. Everybody hates the Juice because of it when he gets paid. Everybody, come on. You're all upset about what these players are getting paid. They can only keep them together for so long. So if we don't win it this year, I don't see us being able to keep this team together. I really don't. So for right now, yeah, I'm really, really, really happy with this organization. That's just win the chip. And win the chip, I don't care about next year. I want this year. I'm not looking for next game. I'm looking for this game this week. That's it. This Brock Purdy MVP. You can give it to Dak Prescott. I want Brock Purdy to have a Super Bowl ring on his hand. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
That's the only award that counts.
That's the only ring that counts. That's the only trophy that counts. Dude, I've been a 49ers fan for a long time, right? I was like, I repeat this in all our streams. I was 15 when last time we won. 15 freaking years old. We still got more rings than most of the teams that have, even since then, we're still better than half the league, right? But it's been so long. And I'm sick of, Rams fans coming in here and calling us VHS champions, man. Like, I want to be the modern age 49er, world champions. Yep. So they have everything that they need to go and make a run this year. It's just a matter of health. And if the bounces go our way, if we get home field advantage of the playoffs, I think that's huge. Yeah. We get to rest. And and then we'll, let the cards, let things go the way they're going to go. But appreciate you all. This was a nice full hour and a half stream.
Indeed.
Thanks everybody for coming through. I know it's been a tough week for a lot of people because of Corey. Everybody misses him. And yeah, if anything, let's win it for him more than anybody. We will be back next Monday recapping the Arizona Cardinals. We will be on, let me guess, don't tell me. We'll be on David McNew's channel next week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's right. The David McNiner YouTube channel, folks.
So make sure you guys jump over there next week. Everybody's tag for their channel is in my description box, just in case you can't find it. So just go click on that and you can go right to everybody's page and subscribe. It's been fun, guys. I'm glad everybody was here. Me, I worry a lot when I was just making sure everybody was doing okay after last week. But it was great to talk Niners with you guys. Hopefully when we see each other again, we'll have another victory under our belt, and maybe we'll be NFC West champions by that time too. So
yeah,
everybody take care. Everybody have a great rest of your night, and go Niners. And David, take us out.
Go Niners. And as Corey Davis would say, F all of other 31 teams.
Hell yeah. See you guys.